everyone, welcome back to another exciting Attacker Productions. Today I'm being joined by Jimmy, and we have one of our newcomers fresh to the shop coming in as well. His name is Dalton.
Yeah, Dalton's here for better or worse. Hopefully
Hey,
people like him.
hey everybody, what's going on? Nice to meet you.
And today's matchup is actually Dalton playing Vegito versus Matthew, who is running SS4 Bardock, which Matthew, I think, was on camera with me last week. So we get to see the changes he's made and kind of becoming more comfortable playing at a local events as well. So let's take it away. So
This is my first time ever playing this game. Like, I got there and people were telling me how to play it, and it was a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah, I see you're a fan of the channel because there's only one schmuck that plays that Bardock, and like it's like the most mid tech option I've ever seen in a blue deck. But I can tell you're a fan of the channel because it's right there in your energy. So how long you been watching the channel?
Yeah, I've been kind of creeping on the channel for like 3 months now.
Really?
Yeah. It's been like 3 whole months, but I've watched the entire catalog. From the beginning. Yeah, the entire catalog.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Back when like they used to film Bancroft's face for the intros. I watched that. That was kind of neat. It's been nice to see that things evolve.
Well, I'm glad you came out.
I'm glad that I also came out. It was a lot of fun.
I'm glad that I came.
Wrong conversation, Jimmy. Have you played against SS4 Bardock before?
No.
You said it was your first time playing. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I did hear a couple of people talking about after this match was done that Sir Matthew, my opponent, was forgetting to do his stuff when he charged things into his energy. But I don't know much about that. Maybe one of you two could elaborate.
Jimmy, if you want to talk about the charging and play autos on the SS4.
I have no fucking clue what's going on.
When you charge one of the SS4 cards, they typically have effects. When you
I'm putting in my resignation. I can't handle this anymore.
Jimmy, just hang on through this video. You know more about SS4 than anyone else
does. Am I getting a pay raise?
We'll talk about that later. I'm
taking the belt and I'm going home.
I don't understand what's happening.
So typically, SS4 packages, if I'm correct, the 2-drops have an effect on play and when you charge them energy, but it has to have another SS4 multicolor card in the energy that is not the same as that card. And they all have their own effects, either pitching a card from your opponent's hand or negating a card, and yada, yada, yada.
That is correct. The green, yellow, and blue ones have those effects, and then the 3-drop red has the charge effect of negging something by a maximum of 10.
It's a 3-drop red? Okay.
Yeah, the 2-drop red is the counter play, which is honestly probably one of the better cards in the entire deck just because it's a denial of hope on legs.
Yeah. And do you have to take the life for that one? I can't remember.
You can pay 2 for it, or you can take a life for the reduction.
Yeah, which is really nice if you just need to get down to 4 life for super combos purposes, if someone's kind of keeping you from going that far, because this deck can awaken once you get to a certain point naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And I think getting that 1-drop Goku on the board into blue deck is brilliant, because blue typically is the most counter-ish deck there is. So being able to way to kind of punish your opponent for doing counterplays.
It definitely it definitely created an obstacle because I had things in my hand that I wanted to do, but I didn't want to have to warp a card out of my head to do it. So it definitely created some issues.
You kind of have a pretty blinged out deck for this being your first time ever playing.
Oh, I didn't say it was my deck. I asked Bancroft to bring a deck for me, and he brought one.
Oh, you've been talking to Bancroft?
Well, he hit me up on Facebook.
Yeah. I messaged him on Facebook.
I shouldn't have said that part out loud. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I've been playing this on on Untap. It inspired me based upon my hero. My hero inspired me to build this deck. So
Who's your hero?
Oh, it's Fluff. Definitely Fluff.
Oh,
Wait, who's that?
It's
Who's that?
why
Who's that?
Fluff. He's brave.
I'm sorry. I think you're mistaken. I feel like I think he's part of.
You all accosted him and robbed him.
Hey, we have nothing to do with what goes on over at like PPG Land or Vegeta Saiyan Army, whatever the fuck they're called. We don't have anything to do with that. This is Attack on Productions. I don't know a Fluff.
Like, yeah, it's Fluff. The two most important people on Attack on Productions by far are Bancroft and Fluff.
I don't know who this Fluff person is. I know Bancroft does all the editing, so of course, he's pretty important. But I'd say, the shop champion is probably just as important as the editor.
So
I don't think so.
Dalton, I need to ask. It looks like SS4 is kind of putting the pressure on you. Clears your board, but you are waking with 5 life. And if you were to counter at this point, you have to up a card. How are you feeling in this situation?
I'm actually feeling okay. My hand's got a couple super combos in it, so I kind of want him to get me down to 4 life here. And also, I'm kind of thinking that maybe I also want him to turn that Goku sideways so I can try to hit it with something. So I want him to feel like he's getting some type of advantage on me, so I'm not pushing myself and I'm not going crazy with negates here. The big problem is that I keep restanding energy on my opponent's turn, and I just don't have anything to do with it. So it almost feels like a wasted effect because of that Goku on the field.
Do you happen to run the Zamasu super combo that you could tap down that True Fighting Spirit?
No, I didn't. If I did, I didn't see it in the deck. I'm pretty sure I saw 4 Vegetas there.
Well, I mean, if your hero's this Fluff guy, I heard he kind of runs, the multicolor Zamasu super combo. So you're obviously not that big of a fan.
I mean, I would have run that that card, but that Vegeta's pretty pog, if you know what I'm saying.
Dalton, we had a conversation earlier before we started recording. I need to ask you, what does pog mean?
It means pot of greed. It's draw 2.
Carry on.
Yeah, that's why I run 4 of them. It's like running 4 pot of greeds in a deck. Duh. It's here. I'm just trying to get him to waste resources in his hand while I'm trying to clear his field. You can see that his hand is getting pretty shallow at this point, so I'm pretty much okay with it, with him putting things on the field. I could also choose to remove a marker from my Unison to send things back to his head.
Sending stuff back to the hand in SS4 is kind of like reloading the gun, as we've talked about before in blue decks, where the removal is not fantastic, but also just being able, you have to play that game of, do I want to deal with what's on the board and then plus what else he's going to play from the hand, or do I want to bounce this back and deal with the autos all over again?
Yeah, that was a lot of what I was thinking too. Like, if I put that stuff back into his hand, it just gets dangerous again. So I decided to leave it and just deal with the turn.
But you were able to establish a blocker, which for this deck is phenomenal, because I think it restands 2 energy and get to a draw.
Yeah, which is really good. So I'm going to be able to defend myself. I'm not too terribly worried about dying this turn. I did get to see this guy's deck before this match, so I did know that he didn't run the 4-cost SS4 thwarting the Dark Empire. So I wasn't so much worried about that, but in other situations, I would be feeling pretty nervous at this point.
And I think we completely missed the fact here that he just snatched his secret rare off of an SS4 call, which is just absolutely huge.
That's an amazing thing too. Like that, the ability to be able to search for a secret rare has always been great when you find decks that can do it or cards that can do it. And yeah, an SS4 call, it's just great. It's top 5, right?
SS4 call is top 2.
I think it's top 2.
Top 3, or it's top 3 or top 2.
Okay, so it's very low, but you can take 1. If you take 2, you have to bottom deck one, I think, or something along
Yes.
those lines.
Yeah.
Which I've always been a fairly big hater of SS4 Call and then the Agent Strike Back for the Agent's version of the same card. But being able to snatch a Secret Rare off of it is kind of huge for...
It seemed to put in a lot of work for him. Like, I don't think the card's bad. It was kind of almost like he was running his cards in it, like... For each of those, it was like 2 cards less per in his deck. It seemed like it was a big consistency thing. So here, he puts his Goku sideways, which makes me really happy. So now I'm going to be able to get a chance to crack back at his Goku now.
And you've established a small lock here of the Unison. If you have a Saiyan in rest mode, it's your leader card does not take damage. They can still attack at it to get on attack autos, but you will not take damage for that. So now he's investing so many resources into clearing just one dinky 5k, and you just have so many options to thwart that plan.
And that Unison is a 20k, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, if he wanted to even try to hurt the Unison to get rid of that, he would have to combo cards. Now, granted, he did just overround fighting its fate, which is a beautiful double strike card. Not double strike, like dual attack.
Mm.
And so here, you know, I was able to kind of clear the field, or use my super combos rather, to keep myself from taking unnecessary damages. I didn't realize that Gohan on the field, I think, has double strike. So I was a little worried about that. Here, SS4 is showing how well it can just cripple a Unison with his leader swing, take it off of 1. And then there's a card that goes into his energy that he's able to use that will also rip a marker off, but I think he missed that.
Yeah, that is the Green Gohan. When it's charged, it targets a Unison with 3 or more markers, ripping one of them, where the leader card does not specify a marker count. So if it happens to be at 1 marker, you can just kill the Unison while swinging at your opponent's leader for free, which is just nutty.
I think he did rip a marker when he played the Unison. I mean, when he played the Gohan. I remember you adjusting the die after you played it.
Yeah.
Now, here's something I'm curious about. SS3, is it just SS4 that could pull from the warp, right?
No, SS3 can as well.
So I'm curious if he didn't have any, because it didn't look like he looked in his warp, so I'm not sure. But he chose to go with 2 cards from his hand instead, which isn't always the greatest thing, but if you have to do it, you have to do it.
If I remember the conversation, the Goku and the Vegeta that he had that were actually in his warp didn't have the same battle power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the SS4 thwarting, which I believe he said he's not running this list, that one does not have... It's not Union Fusion, so it can target any Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah.
Where the Union Fusion cost requires both cards to have the exact same power.
Here I am working on clearing out that field a little bit before I start committing. I want him to have wasted as much resource as possible. And there he actually combos off one of his cards, so he's kind of doing his job for me.
Maybe. No,
Possibly.
Maybe.
he
was
decided
thinking
not to,
about it.
yeah.
That rat fig.
I mean, but you bounce those 2 cards back to his hand. If he wants to reestablish the SS3, he would have to get rid of 2 more cards.
Yeah. Which I'm okay with. Here I'll throw up Murichip because, number one, I really like the name. And he's a big, beefy boy, but I mean, I didn't hit the effect because it got the Unison, which felt really bad. But I'm still going to be able to pressure him with a double strike here.
I mean, just having that information off the top is worth it most of the time.
Yeah.
Now you know he's most likely not drawing into a Unison, which that Unison could be fairly big within a blue matchup. In case you want to like board in a Booney, then that floodgate on the Unison will definitely kick in for that.
Yeah. And here, I know he's got his secret rare. So I know that there's probably going to be some kind of craziness coming off that secret rare during this turn. And he's going to be able to Union Fusion again, which is kind of frustrating. But I'm confident in my ability to be able to deal with it.
Well, he is. I don't think he has the pieces to do so.
Yeah, I think this is this might have been the one where he didn't have the pieces to do it.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But still, like, establishing that secret rare, which plays 4 different SS4 cards, is incredible because they get played with their skills still.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you're not
it doesn't
like,
turn their skills off.
Yeah, so you get all those on play autos. And just swing with the leader to clear out the Unison is just amazing as well.
Yeah, and that let me restand 2 cards, so here I'm able to justify a little bit of pressure here. So I'm able to kind of survive anything that he wants to do. With 2 open energy goes a long way in a blue deck.
I spoke too soon. Never mind. I didn't speak too soon. I knew what I was talking about. Maybe not. Jesus fucking Christ.
So,
Yeah.
What happened there was just because of the interaction of Unison, the assumption was that the battle was over, so he went to go play the Unison. Realized there was still a combo step. Dalton, you took the damage, and then he played and immediately -2.
Which is interesting. If I were him, I think I would have swung with the Unison and then done the -2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That way you at least get an extra attack, even if you're swinging it at the battle card. There's a good chance you could have wasted a negate on there, not knowing what he could combo. Grant his hand is kind of low right now. But even if he's swung at the leader, I mean, that's either a resource from your hand just to stop the attack or to combo, or you're taking the damage and go down to 1 life, and then face with this opportunity right here.
Yeah. This was a lot. This was a really scary turn. I went from having his field mostly cleared to this, then to now I'm going to have to discard if I want to attack with other cards during my turn. So this is really scary, and I'm kind of worrying if I'm going to be able to survive this onslaught.
Vermilion is a very interesting card in that it can apply pressure like this, but there's also, you have to make the choice of, would I rather save it for the defensive option, which is one of the best defensive secret rares in the game, in my opinion. But to get the most value out of it, you have to work, I think, at least 5 cards, or I think 5 cards to get the most out of it. Which it looks like your blue deck is not really flooding the board. But still, being able to remove the barrier on Marichin would be pretty dope.
Yeah, that would be really good. He also is going to waste attacks here trying to clear out the...
So I think I walked past your all's table when I saw this happening, and I'm really curious. I meant to ask him about it afterwards. Was the assumption there tied to the Unison, where he forgot that was a clause of the Unison, not the battle card in rest mode?
Oh, I don't know.
Because you still could have activated battle to give the leader plus 5k, or was that just for the battle, not the turn?
It's for the turn. It's basically a Sensu being on a body.
But you didn't do that, though.
No.
Or is it
no, because he attacked the battle card itself.
Oh, okay.
And here we see a Bafuba coming in, just so I don't die.
Good old Mafuba-fication.
Exactly.
I mean, I was really hoping he was going to Dougie with another SS3 thwarting on top of that.
Could have, because he did overround for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he could have Union Fusion for another one.
Now, but I would say he's in a situation where if you cannot successfully do anything this turn, he gets to keep that card because by Mafubing it, it bypasses the overwhelm and doesn't leave the board.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, I mean, he gets to keep if I happen to discard the 2 cards to play it naturally.
Here, he activated a counter on the leader swing, and I was able to counter with the big 8 card. So the way that I understand this is he doesn't get his effect. I get to bottom deck 2 of his cards. I get to draw a card, and then I get to swing triple strike and ruin his day.
Where did you get this winter art baby?
Remember earlier, like I said, he had contacted me on Facebook, so yeah. I brought a deck real quick.
I mean, so you just let the new guy use the winter art? Are you overinflating his ego?
When I go through the cards, I just grab the first one I see, and they were already in a deck previously made.
That's why you give me the shop champ all of the non-foils when I ask to borrow cards.
It's okay. Bancroft got to hold on to the Still Defender as collateral. Okay?
Wait. You sounded really familiar there.
So
no,
we need to wrap this up today. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep in mind those buttons down below and on the screen. And like always, read your cards, know your plays, and fluff out.